15-16. Lost the ball. The pass is batted down. It's batted down by Carroll.
It's caught by Samaza. Inside the 20. Inside the 10. He's going in. Notre Dame has scored. Dawson throws. Open receiver in the end zone. Touchdown. Notre Dame. Somehow the Irish did it.
Out of the pack. 30, 35. Goodbye, baby. At the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. 5-5 rocket touchdown. Irish.
Tyree! Whoa! Can he get there? Tyree at the 30, 20, 10, touchdown, Notre Dame! Woo! 98 big ones! Zibikowski looking for a block. Cuts to the right to the 40. Gets a block. Gets to the 45, 50. Up to the 45, 40, 30. 1 minute to beat. 20, 15, 10. He's down to the 5. Touchdown, Irish!
What's up, Fighting Irish Faithful? Welcome back to the show. The Fighting Irish Faithful show has returned for season 6. Episode 6, return to the podcast. Well, not exactly that epic and cool, but this is season 6 officially, starting now. Episode 1, well, starting a couple minutes ago, but you all get the point. Volume 153 of all time. First time podcasting on tax day and during Holy Week, but not the first time we've done this on a Tuesday. So if you didn't file your taxes, whoops, you're in trouble. But happy Holy Week to everyone. Hope your Holy Week and your Lent has been good. We're almost there to Easter, so hang tight. And Easter is actually my favorite holiday of all time, but that's another podcast altogether. Thank you everyone for joining me. I am Joe at faithful_Irish on the X. And we are still part of the Dos Leprechauns universe. Check us out, Dos Leprechauns. Facebook, YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are really going to try to push that this year. We may have some things happening later with this show. Nothing committed, nothing firm yet, but we know we're being pushed. I'll just spill the beans. I'm being pushed to do video, not from anyone else other than myself, which maybe doesn't make sense, but hey, it is kind of what I think we should do. We've been doing this for so long. There's no reason why we should not have videos. So anyway, I am joined by Ryan. Where you at? What you like dropped off here? I don't know what's going on. You were co-host. We've brought the man Ryan Fravel. I've invited him to co-host with Red Snapper in the wing here as well whenever he decides to jump on. He said he was joining tonight, but he works. He's a busy guy. He's making moves and doing that. I know people know what that is. And Ryan's on mute. You don't have to be on mute. Come off.
My bad, man. I actually clicked off the space, so I mean.
What the deuce? What? You weren't fighting with some Ohio State guy, and so you're like, eh. I'm just kidding. But a man who doesn't need much introduction to anyone who is active on X. This man is fighting the good fight and has way more patience than I do. I cannot stand, no offense, your space. It's not you. And it's not the content of what you're talking about. It's the riffraff that jump on. And maybe you're done this deliberately, or maybe there's just psychos out there, which is maybe just a little bit of both. But Ryan, welcome. I wanted you as co-host. You've been fighting the good fight in the off season on social media, defending Our Ladies University and the young men on our football program, our recruits, and taking it to the idiots at other that are fans of other schools. So welcome, Ryan, as co-host tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate you inviting me on here. I've listened to your show a few times. Hopped on here and speak a couple times.
Just a few? What?
I mean, more than a few. Okay.
Is this where I need to plug the subscribe? Actually, I really don't give two shits if anyone subscribes. Sorry, Jason at Those Leprechauns. Look, this can be people's dirty little secret. Like, Fighting Irish Faithful, never heard of it, and then you're down in your basement with your bourbon, and you're just like, okay,
and
now this is.
I'm not gonna lie, man. This whole thing that you do, your show that you and Red Snapper do, is the whole reason I even started doing Notre Dame Spaces. So
what?
Yeah, I mean, you guys gave.
Oh, here, let me turn your mic up a little bit. Here, continue.
But Yeah, you guys are the whole reason I even started this whole thing. So you guys were kind of the inspiration. So
Wow.
shout out to you guys.
Gosh, I don't even know what to do right now. I'm gonna marinate in these juices for a minute and just let you talk. All right, Ryan. I appreciate those kind words. No, it's really nice. So let's kick this off. We'll BS around the bush. It is the spring, as people know. I'm reticent usually to talk right now about Notre Dame football because it's the off season, and I won't name who this was, but this is an active person and a legit writer, runs a blog. I won't say who it is. But anyway, they said spring practice, because it's practice, right? This is where I really wish I had a soundboard at my thing to have Allen Iverson. We talking about practice, but we are talking about practice, and spring football is the most overcovered, overrated part of the football season, because it's practice. I mean, like Jeremiah Love didn't see a single snap in the spring game. Like we'll cut to the chase there. There's probably a good reason for that. Okay, it doesn't need to. Things like that, right? So but I would be a poor podcaster of Notre Dame football if I didn't talk about the spring game. Many of our friends, many people who were on there, in South Bend over the last weekend, it's always comes up in this house, and we decide, no, we're not going to go this year. We've got other stuff going on. I got two little kids right now. And so we didn't do it this year. But in the future, it's always something we strive to do, and we have done with the kids before. So, but no, respect to spring practice, spring game, the blue and gold game. Happy that we do get to watch the Irish kind of get a glimmer of what this season is like, but then it's like dialed down to level 5 rather than 11. So, Ryan, what's your take of spring practice?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I was one of the lucky people that got to be in South Bend, witness the beautiful day, the beautiful
the weather
atmosphere.
looked amazing.
Yeah, it was kind of weird though because it started off pretty cold early in the day. So I wore some sweats and a sweatshirt, obviously my navy blue Notre Dame jersey over top, and then by the end of the day, I ended up taking it off because I was sweating in it. But yeah, beautiful day for football. You could feel the atmosphere, the anticipation, the excitement around this team. I mean, South Bend was packed like a normal game day for a spring game. This is my first
and the
spring
stadium
game.
seemed really crowded too. I wasn't counting heads, but it did look like most of the lower bowl was pretty full.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, besides the upper sections, obviously, it was at times packed to the brim. So yeah, I mean, but getting to the actual ball game, I think we learned a lot. I still think it's an open quarterback competition between the three guys of Angeli, Carr, and Macy.
I agree.
But it's exciting to see all the overreactions and stuff from a scrimmage that most of the starters did not play in. Most of our starting offensive line didn't participate. Jeremiah Love didn't play.
Nope.
Jamie Greathouse seemed like he was just kind of out there for a few plays to get some cardio in. Jordan Faison is, he didn't participate. He's busy with lacrosse season right now.
He is a lacrosse athlete right now. That's right.
So yeah, I mean, you didn't really get to see, and obviously Malachi Fields is not on campus yet. He's finishing out, getting his degree from Virginia. So he won't be here till the fall. So you didn't really get a fair idea, and I don't think it was necessarily a fair assessment of how good each quarterback was because they weren't running with the real ones. They weren't running with the real twos. A lot of times, you saw Elijah Burris and Scrap Richardson be, kind of starting wide receivers in that game. Those guys, they're great and they're very talented, but, to be honest with you, they're probably not going to be on the 6-7 deep heading into the season. So,
right.
Like I said, it's not a fair assessment. So I know that it seemed like Carr undoubtedly played the best of the three. And I think Minchie and Angeli, showed flashes at times. But I think it's just too early, too soon to be like, without a doubt, this guy as the starter just because of the limitations and not having our entire roster out there.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, it's we can only do with what we can do at this point with practice, and every time I've been to the spring game, I'm like, well, it's fun to be here, but then it's like, man, this is not even close to what like a real game atmosphere is, right? Which is kind of a good thing in the sense of like game atmosphere, game environment is just like orders of magnitude better, which is a good thing. So I don't want to play it down, but it's almost like, well, spring game is unfulfilling only because we know what real Notre Dame football is in South Bend, right? Like, so that's not to say that what we're seeing is bad. It's just like, well, it's always just dialed down. So, real quick, high level, kind of a not really public service announcement here, but yes, for anyone who's new or anyone who just needs to be re-educated here, yes, what's the tagline of this show? Scotch and spreadsheets. We put the scotch aside in the spring and the summer, and we go with bourbon. Now, what's funny is, and this is where I wish Red Snapper was on because he'd get a kick about this, but he'll hear this in the replay here, is lately we've been making old fashions in the house. Okay, and that's kind of and we had some really, really good news in the house tonight. No, we're not having another kid. It was other good news. No, we didn't win the lottery. So 2 strikes there. But we're having bourbon. We got some Woodford Reserve. We got some nice stuff here. But it was funny thinking of old fashions. I was thinking of this little audio clip here.
Now I'm going to make an old-fashioned the old-fashioned way, the way dear old Dad used to.
What if something happens?
What can happen to an old-fashioned, all right?
All right, what happens on this podcast? I don't know. Hopefully people know what that's from, so. It's a movie from the 60s. It's legit. All right, so let's move on. I'm going to change gears here. Let's talk about fashion. The shirt. The shirt. Oh, people dropping off. We're talking about fashion and the shirt. People don't like it. Look, I love this year's shirt. I don't care. I'm unashamed. It is very rare when I see the reveal of the shirt and I'm like, I absolutely love it. Most of the time, it's like last year's shirt. It was gold and da-da-da-da. I was just like, nah, and then it kind of grew on me. And then my son, who's gosh, he's gonna be 4 this June. He refers to his 2024 Notre Dame shirt as his helmet shirt because there's a giant helmet on it. And quite frankly, we had a good season. So it's one of those things where it's like it grows on you. And I actually didn't buy it. The wife just bought them and didn't even tell me that she did it. It's like her typical, weekly, bi-weekly Amazon purchases, right? People with spouses know what I'm talking about. It's like, what's this shit on the porch, right? No, it's usually actually decent stuff, just like, what? Oh, I guess we needed that. All right. But that's kind of how the shirt was last year. But this year, I love it. I looked at it, and my immediate reaction, and I was sober, was, this is awesome. I love the color. I love the logo on the back. And then looking at the details and some of the descriptions you see on social media, there's an F-16 on it. All right. So, 5 points right there. I like the kind of gothic-y, old-timey script on it. It's simple. It's straightforward. It features running the damn football, right? It's got 25, which is cool because who is number 25? Ryan knows this. Hopefully you know this. Rocket.
Ishmael.
Yeah, Ishmael was number 25, right? So I'm happy they put a running back or someone running with the football on the back. So I love this year's shirt. Add to cart. I hope it gets here soon. So, and if you hate the shirt, by all means, we don't have to just have groupthink here. But Ryan, what's your thought?
I mean, this might be a unpopular opinion because I saw some people say they wish it was the Kelly green instead of the, the throwback green, they used in the early 2000 green jerseys.
I don't.
Me
It is
personally-
not forest green. I will say that it's not forest
like,
green.
For me, like I don't know how you feel, but this might be unpopular opinion, but I've always felt that the throwback, the green jerseys that Brady Quinn wore, Jeff Samardzija, and all those guys wore, those were always my favorite green jerseys. I do like the Kelly green, but I love the way the shirt looks because it gives me that, throwback 2005, watching Brady Quinn sling that ball around the field.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
When they had the dark green and the gold shiny numbers, that was great.
Yeah.
That was like a 2013 like Shamrock Series jersey too. That was pretty good. I think it was against Maryland or something.
It was 2011.
It was a 2011. Yeah, that's right. It was 2011. It was yeah. But you guys get my point. Like I like the color they picked, and the design is simple. Like the Kelly green, we've kind of used that a couple of times. 2018, what was it? 2020, 2021. The one with the fist pump in the air. That I didn't like that one. I didn't buy that one. It just like we've used that color a couple of times, and we haven't had a darker kind of normal green. And it's basically the color of grass. Like it's a grass green,
Maybe it's just me, but like the ones that we wore the last couple of years for the Ohio State game, and then this year, they call it Kelly green, but to me it looks more like
pastel.
Yeah, does it? So I like those a lot better than I did the actual Kelly green jerseys.
Yeah. It's kind of it's like some weird bright. It definitely looks like it works on an Under Armour with the Under Armour logo, but like, is it really a Notre Dame color? I don't know. Like whatever that means. Like I like the shirt. I'm happy with it, and I'm happy to purchase it. Now I'm a little annoyed at the bookstore and the powers that be. They apparently hate babies because you cannot buy said shirt in babies and onesies and anything like under a 2T. So people who don't have kids don't understand this, but it's like, what am I doing buying a 2T for the baby? Like, I don't know. So TBD on that, although he is probably going to be a future tight end for Notre Dame because he's massive right now. He's not even 18 months, and he's just already running around and tackling his older brother, which is great. Anyway, so let's get some people, Ryan, and then we'll jump around to recruiting and some of my other thoughts from the blue and gold game. But we got a lot of people here. People been itching for a couple of months. Let's jump to our front man, Luis. Oh, what am I doing here, rookie? All right, there he is. All right, good. Ryan's got controls of the sticks here. Thank God. Luis, how's everything out on the West Coast, my friend?
Nevada's bipolar, bro. 1 minute it's hot, next minute it's cloudy, and it looks like about to storm over here.
Especially where you are up there in Reno, man. Fuck.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. But getting ready to go back home probably after next weekend. Got to go see my dad. My dad's health is just deteriorating. But other than that, it is what it is, guys. Big day for me tomorrow as well. So some of you know. Other than that,
I didn't realize that was tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
All right, I'll text you later.
Yeah, for sure.
Prayers, my friend.
Same prayers for you, Luis.
Thank you, guys. No, man, all of you guys appreciate it, man. A lot of you that have interacted with through other spaces and stuff like that. Glad that you guys keep going, and there's so much to be proud of. I mean, I don't know. Hey, Ryan, I will tell you this. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no quarterback competition, bro. Hey, you got your quarterback. You got to figure out. You just got to figure out who's going to be 2 and 3, and that's all you got to figure out. We got a quarterback.
I'm trying to make everyone happy, Luis, because everybody.
Man, I don't give a damn about making everybody happy, bro. This ain't, football ain't gonna make everybody happy, bro. There's gonna be some winners and there's gonna be some losers, just like in the starting positions. You know what I mean? You got your backups on backups. Right now, we're just reloading. We're locked and loaded, ready to go with DJ Carr as our future quarterback.
Amen.
And just shove it if you don't like it. We're moving forward because this is Notre Dame. This is what Marcus Freeman has been building. This is what we're doing. We're not waking up to those echoes anymore. We're shaking those thunders, and we're making hell come to the United States of America with Notre Dame football.
Amen. Amen. I love how Luis still in the off season. Like there is no off season for Luis. Can I put it that way?
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like, it's not like this has been 38 years? 38 years waiting to see Notre Dame be relevant all over again.
Yeah.
Enough of like overdoing us. So it's
we finished
time
number 2
for
last
everybody.
season, so
Yeah,
that's pretty
very good.
relevant.
You know what I mean? So like the way I see it is like we have a great thing going right now, and let's not screw it up like Tennessee's doing over there. You know, we're doing
Good God.
Suicided his career.
Dysfunction.
Yeah, exactly. Suicided. And then and then the thing is like this is why you gotta watch what you watch and do what you do. You know what I mean? Prove yourself. You deserve to be at Notre Dame, and negotiations can happen that you can change your life around, and that's a fact. You know what I mean? And number 2, you have a coach that's hip, modern, a hell of a dad. I mean, man, well, how can you not love Notre Dame right now? Even with Pete Vodka, like that bald-headed guy, man, I'm so glad he's our athletic director. That guy, man, he reminds me of the American Eagle, bro. But I'm so proud that he's our athletic director. You know what I mean? But this is the point where everybody gets to be proud. And you talk about Brady Quinn. I remember Tony Rice when he won the national championship. I remember Rick Meyer. Rick. How do you say his last name? Meyer. Yeah, right.
Meyer.
Yeah, it's Meyer. And then I forgot the quarterback in '93, bro. Like I completely whiffed on that one. But Arnaz Battle, Jackson was our quarterback as well.
Jackson,
like we had those. Like okay, like this is the time where you could actually be so proud of Notre Dame and just say with so much love what this university gives us. You know what I mean? The school, the campus, the vibes. Like I wanted to just catch a last minute flight just to head out there. Yeah. I really was. But circumstances of life, I have other responsibilities that enable me to be going out there. But I mean, I've never been this excited about Notre Dame in a very long time. And there is no off season for me. When it's Notre Dame football, any day, any place, anytime, anywhere. You want to talk about Notre Dame, I'm there. You know what I mean? And to all of you that keep this going and keep going with your podcasts and stuff like that, guys, like you've changed a man that was depressed at one point of his life. And I'm being dead serious, guys. Like my kids tell me, Dad, like you're different now. And it is, and it's part of like all of you. Each and one of you is this transformation that I've done from what I used to be to what I am now. It's thanks to the love and support that I get from the Notre Dame fan base, because I finally met a group I belong to. And sometimes in life, you go out there searching for people and loves and stuff like that, just to be part of something. But God is my witness that there's nothing more that I love than this Notre Dame fan base and the way you guys embrace me. God damn, guys, like I'm just sorry I let you guys down, like I really do.
Well, Luis, I think what you're talking about is kind of one of the reasons why I started this show, because like I'm not from where I live, right? I live on the south side of Indianapolis. I was not born and raised here. I was born in the Los Angeles area. Life circumstances brought us to Indiana for school, and then we just never left. But none of our family is near us. And so, and obviously, it's fortunate that Notre Dame is just north of where we are, 3 hours or what have you. But a lot of me doing this show was, look, I'm a fan. A former podcast I used to listen to is two guys out of Fort Wayne. They hung up their jerseys per se in 2018, 2019. I was very empty and still searching, and I just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it myself. And 2020 comes around, and that's when I started. And the whole point of this was number one, just to get my opinion out there, and two was to just start connecting with other like-minded, passionate fans. And I was so thankful and grateful in at the end of the 2021 season when Twitter X started doing these spaces as a feature, and that's probably a byproduct of the pandemic. But it was so wonderful to be able to connect with others, and quite frankly, to get some audio equipment here and make it sound good simultaneously. So that's kind of the vibe here, because there's so many avenues to anyone being a Notre Dame fan, and the goal here is to do this show, obviously, and talk about Notre Dame football, but bringing people together has been a natural byproduct of this show, and that has been amazing and worthwhile, to the point when NBC, or Peacock, whatever, launches the broadcast and they're showing fans in the parking lot. It's our friends that we actually see live on TV, on streaming. Dr. Abby, Craig, Big Al. And then later on, I was told that Jason Tiley, his truck and his nephew or whatever, they were all there, and it's like that's how it started. And it's like, oh, I know these people, and it's like we're tweeting stuff out, and it's like that would never have happened without me doing this show, without social media and bringing people together. So this is kind of one of the, most of the time social media gets a bad rap, and there's probably a good reason for that. But I really think that this show and what the Notre Dame community is about as a whole has kind of put a positive light on social media, because we never would have found each other otherwise. There's no way.
And to me too, like when a little bit about that too, is like when I met your brother, like, oh my God, bro, when I went out of my way, just it was scary, like, 'cause it was the first person that I was gonna meet through these spaces of Notre Dame, and just the way he embraced me, the way that him and your sister and all that, your cousin, like, it was just so cool, bro. It was so epic. It was so wonderful. Like, my kids were like, damn, Dad, like, you guys are like, what do you say? You guys act like you guys known each other forever. And that's like, for my son to see that, and it related, and it's like, this is home for me. Like, for a very long time living up here by myself, like, who can I relate to? And it was just my professor friend, right? And Notre Dame football. And that's all I could relate to people out here. Other than that, it was a struggle for me. Depression is a real
It's a real deal. It's a real deal, and I know people personally that have, unfortunately, it's gotten the best of them. Sidebar, the name you're looking for from 1993 is Kevin McDougal.
Kevin McDougal.
Yeah. Anyway, which is funny because he's like the most underrated quarterback Notre Dame's ever had, but that's a whole other story. It's probably because he only threw 7 touchdowns, right? But whatever.
Yeah, right.
But that team was so stacked with names like Randy Kidner, Mark Edwards, Aaron Taylor,
Denson.
I don't know if Denson was on the 93 team.
No, he was there afterwards.
That's my point, right? Like Derek Mays,
Derek Mays,
Jeff Burris, Oscar McBride, right? I actually have his number.
Was it Bobby Taylor or what was it? Ian Taylor?
Aaron Taylor. Aaron Taylor was on there. But yeah, that's my point. Like there's so many other like studs on this team that went pro. And that we know, and then the starting quarterback, Kevin McDougal, people are like, wait, who was the quarterback in 93? He's kind of, sadly, kind of an afterthought, and it's like, if I could get Kevin McDougal on the show, I would love that, but, as the captain of the ship there. All right, let's move, let's change gears here, and move on. Spring game. What was the first play? Oh, well, okay, they did some 7-on-7 stuff, but when they finally had 11-on-11, like you can hear the crowd, people are getting excited. What was the first play they ran?
It was a run, I believe, right?
It was a run play to Jadarian Price. #RTDB, and I was just like, all right, spring game's over. Like, because that's probably the only big run we're going to see, because they're going to put his ass on the bench because we don't want to get Price injured. Like Jeremiah Love is basically a sideline, play-by-play, color commentary at this point because he's being interviewed by Peacock. Yeah, and I don't think he saw a snap at all. So the here's the best part that I take away from the spring game. We have a monster run game, and we're not even gonna showcase it in the spring game, which is great because we have two monster running backs, and it's gonna be epic-tacular. So I had to get that out there. That was the biggest takeaway I had, despite the fact. And look, I'm gonna be a little honest here. I do not have a legit stat piece tonight. I know. I'm sorry. I have one job. But I do have some things in the notes here, but we'll get to them, kind of in the off season, kind of whatever, when we start up again in early August, when we return after the summer. But no, the run game is good. I am very curious to know what the number of run plays are versus pass plays, designed runs versus designed pass, right? Okay, Minchie scrambled for a bit, right, which is cool. Sweet backflip, by the way. If you didn't see that, you're missing out. The Minchie backflip. Angeli's got a lot of experience. He's cool and collect in the pocket. It just didn't look like it was his day. He kind of looked like Buckner from a couple of years ago, and it's just like, yeah, you're probably not gonna do so hot. And then he transfers, right? And then I'm not suggesting or saying that I think Angeli's gonna transfer. I don't think that's the case. Where's he gonna go? Like, give me a break. So.
I think he could be I've always thought this, and maybe this is just me because he's from Bergen Catholic in that New Jersey area. But I always thought that if a perfect place for him, if he were to ever transfer, would be Rutgers. Going back home. I knew you were going to say that. There is no way that Rutgers has any quarterback that is better than Stephen Jelly on the roster. And I think that'd be a place where, who doesn't, mind going back home and, being guaranteed a starting job. And I think there are multiple other places he could go where he would, he'd be the best quarterback option for a lot of teams. So.
No, I don't doubt that for a second. Like, part of me, like, the transfer thing, like, okay, playing time is one thing, but then it's like, playing time, do you want to play on a winning team or a losing team, or do you want to be a part of a winning team or a losing team? And Jelly's been on winning teams. Mm-hmm. And then to step down and go to Rutgers and just kind of be a bottom feeder of the Big Ten, I just don't. I'd be shocked if that happened. And let's face it, Angeli's kind of been the second stream backup guy always, really. And it's like, well, why now? Why would now change things? And I mean that seriously, which is funny because if you just look at experience and snaps and game time, etc., he's got more snaps and game time combined than the other two guys, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a function of, God-given talent and blessings that, God gave to CJ Carr, because it's based off of his composure and his ability to place the ball, on a frozen rope to people in the spring game. It helps when one of your receivers is wide the fuck open in the end zone at the end, but my point being, like, it's pretty apparent that I think Carr is the guy. I'm going to, put my chips all in, what have you. I think Carr will be, taking first string reps in Florida, in Miami, right? I'm going to come out and say it. Now, but I will say this. If it's anyone else, Minchie or Angeli, I'm not going to be upset. This is the one time where I'm like, I'm okay with any of these guys being the starter. And maybe it's a little bit of me just, kind of being Pontius Pilate and washing my hands of the situation, which is half true, but simultaneous, which is kind of funny because it is Holy Week, but we don't need to read into that. But my point is, come that Miami game, it's probably going to be Carr, because he's proven to me his natural talent has the ability to rise up. We've got great running backs. I don't need, with all due respect to Riley Leonard, I do not need someone like him in the backfield again this year. I don't think that's absolutely necessary for us to be successful on the ground. I think we're going to have kind of more of that pro style. Here's the quarterback, here's the running backs, here's the receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can have that kind of natural distribution of responsibility.
And I do think, I think this is the first time in a long time that you look at Notre Dame's quarterback room and you go, at least for me, Stephen Jelly, I think we can win with. Kenny Minchie, I think we can win with. CJ Carr, well, I think he gives us the highest ceiling.
Yep.
We can win with. I mean, I think there are paths because of how good the team is and the roster is around the quarterbacks that all three have different play styles, but Notre Dame can play to all three of their play styles and achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Said play styles, which you haven't been able to say of a Notre Dame quarterback room in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, like it's funny, in the off season, what I like doing is listening to older shows. A little bit of it's, nostalgia, and a little bit is critique, and just kind of remember, like, oh yeah, that was a good show. Go back to 2021 when we had Jack Cohn, which is really funny because the beginning of the season I'm calling him Cohen, which is really cringy to hear myself call him that. But that being said, Jack Cohn, Tyler Buckner was, I think, a true freshman, and Drew Pine, and it's like that's a completely different quarterback room than what we have now, right?
Yeah, you go from a guy that is playing in the UFL right now, I believe.
Yeah.
A guy that's a walk-on lacrosse player, and then you have Drew Pine, who's at his fourth school.
Where did he go? He left Missouri, didn't he?
So he left Notre Dame, went to Arizona State.
Yep.
Then left Arizona State to Missouri, and now Missouri to Now it's a Bowling Green.
That's right. It was Bowling Green. That's right. I did see that article.
You oppose that to Stephen Jelly, who helped you in a critical moment in one of the biggest games in Notre Dame history against Penn State.
Yep.
You have Kenny Minchie, who, you just watch the film and you watch tape. He's way more talented than Buckner and Pine combined,
and can do a backflip. His parents probably put him in gymnastics, unlike myself.
Well,
sorry, Red Snapper. Red Snapper's dying. He's rolling on the floor right now. Who's finally joined us?
You go CJ Carr, and CJ Carr, in my opinion, just raw talent as a passer, might be the most talented quarterback from a raw talent standpoint that we've had since Jimmy Clausen was under center.
Ooh, that's probably a fair assessment there. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's very fair.
It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder, Fighting Irish Fatal. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, it's okay.
It makes me wonder if he didn't have the elbow injury for most of last season, would he have been able to, at some point last season, take in the QB2 job away from Angeli? It makes me wonder. I don't think he necessarily would have, but, I mean, I saw the same stuff in this year's spring game that I saw him do as a true freshman in last year's spring game. So, I don't know, man. I mean, it would have been interesting to see, and I kind of wish we would have got to find that out, but unfortunately, he had that injury. But
yeah, and I'll take your example and kind of turn it around on you in a polite way, unlike those assholes at Ohio State on spaces that you're part of. But sorry, I can't deal with it. Like I'll jump on because I like you, and it's like, oh, okay, let's see what's going on, and I just hear like bro, dog, bro. I'm like, what the F are you guys talking about? Like I'm like in my car, like going from the grocery store, and someone drops an N-bomb, and I'm like, dude, I can't expose my kids to this. Like I'm no, like I can't do this, you know. That being said, where was I? Oh, and Jelly. Like Red Snapper and I saw him when he first, you know, had his debut at a spring game with Price, believe it or not, and both of them, you know, were amazing in the 2022 spring game. And Jelly clearly had you know, he basically scored like a winning touchdown, right? And
I was there, and I got the coolest video of that.
do you have a cool video?
Yeah,
Please share.
All right, I gotta go. It's buried in the archives, but I gotta. I'll see
Valid
if I can find it.
excuse. All right, no, don't think. Do find it.
Okay.
All right, I want a winning, positive attitude about you, Fivers. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna find this shit right now.
That's right. I don't. All I hear from you is excuses right now. I don't want excuses. Okay, that's fine. No. Do I sound like a football coach? Because I actually don't. But it's probably a good thing.
No, very far from it.
But okay.
You know, I have a video of the Luke Talich hit on Aeneas Williams where he sent him back like a couple yards, but I don't know if that's positive energy or if that's.
Okay, well, I all right. Let's jump straight to defense, but first let's bring Red Snapper on. He's like patiently on the wing here.
Wait a minute. We got to ask this question every year: is our defense good or is our offense trash?
It doesn't. It's a practice. All right.
Okay, but it's a valid question.
It's a valid question, but I don't. How can we answer the question?
That's why it's
Technically,
so.
the
That's why it's
defense
so.
can-
No,
great of a
this is
question.
the nonsense that goes on in the off season, which is why I don't fucking podcast after tonight. You know, like, no offense to you, fine gentlemen. I don't think. No, there's no women on this. To you, fine gentlemen on the podcast, there will be some women who listen to this. You know, shout out to Dr. Abby, our chief of staff, who actually opened up Peacock. You know. And let's see, MJV84. We've had a few other Natalie, where the fuck is Natalie? Right, we've got some stalwarts of women on the show here that actually do contribute to the value of this show. Unlike, you know, Blue Origin with their all female fucking astronauts, and I'm using quotes like Katy Perry, an astronaut. Give me a fucking break. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Okay, sorry.
If she's an astronaut, that makes me a nuclear physicist.
Hell yeah, Fivers are Dr. Fivers, our nuclear physicist. New title. All right, Red Snapper, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you guys?
Yo, are you making dinner? What's for dinner?
I actually just finished making dinner, and I'm pulling the beef ribs out of the pressure cooker.
Oh, okay,
and
that's
they
what I'm hearing.
Literally fall off the bone.
I'm hearing bone on cutting board. I thought I was hearing carrots on knife, but that's not the case. I'm hungry again. Thanks, Red Snapper. Appreciate you.
And to answer exactly. To answer Fivers, I would say the defense is that good. I mean, granted, it's offense and they're learning, and you had 3 different quarterbacks in there and everything else. But that defense, even with Watts and Morrison gone, is young. It's talented. The level of talent is better. We got
talent at safety, man.
Five-star. Oh, it was awesome. Like, just some of the hits you saw, some of the way that they were reading. I am excited to see the zone defense. That's going to shake things up a lot, and it's going to keep people guessing. We already had a good defense. We had a great defense last year.
Great defense. What are you talking about?
No, I'm giving a progression over the last couple of years, and last year was a great defense.
You know, it's wild. We might have on the roster 3 of the top 10 hardest hitting safeties in all of college football, and 2 of them are probably not going to start this year at safety.
Yeah, they're underclassmen.
It's wild to say, though. Like, dude, Luke Talich hits like a freaking freight truck, Don Schuler.
He's
looks like
huge.
that
He's
guy.
6'3".
He just makes a guy fumble every single game with how hard he hits people.
Talich, okay. Can I say this? Because I had a little piece about him because he jumped off the page in the spring game. If you want to talk about people who like made a splash during the spring game, it was Talich for sure. To which I was reading a 1 Foot Down episode, or maybe it was a tweet. It was Josh Voles who runs 1 Foot Down. I think it was a tweet. He said something to the effect of like Luke Talich can like marry my daughter or something to that effect. It was pretty funny, and I'm like, okay, like, but no, he had a legit back-to-back play down at the goal line, right?
Aeneas Williams stuff twice.
Yes, and which is surprising.
Williams is not an easy person to stop.
No,
do you realize how we saw Aeneas Williams against Penn State?
He was amazing.
How hard? Do you realize how hard it is to make Aeneas Williams go backwards?
Yeah.
I don't because I've never tried it.
And he did it twice.
He didn't just put him backwards. He pushed him backwards twice for like a 2-yard loss each time. Like
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little guy from Wyoming's got some arms, man.
Yeah, so Talich, he was. I had to do some research on him because, look, he had a pick six last year against Florida State. Okay,
I also got a video on that,
which put us in the 50s. He's a 3-star recruit out of Cody, Wyoming. He's 6'3", tall. What I think he should do to embrace his kind of, Mountain West, Wyoming, whatever. The dude should wear a cowboy hat during the player walk.
That would be awesome.
I'm just gonna throw this out here. Talich wearing a cowboy hat, coming out of not during mass, but after mass, during the player walk with the. I'm just saying, like it could work. Okay. Talich, if you're out there, or Notre Dame people, because I know some of you listen to me, secretly. No one on this show, unless there's a spy among us. That's just fine, I guess. That being said, Talich, cowboy hat, I'm calling it now. Do it. Embrace your Wyomingness. What's the motto motto of Wyoming? I don't know.
You know what, Luke Talich, and again, I'm not saying he's as talented, but just the play style and the heart.
Well, and I'm not fanning him with palm leaves either. I'm just saying like he's the, because it's Holy Week. Who made an impact on you in the spring game? He did. That's it. Maybe the new kickers. Someone hit a big one. Like past 40, so that's cool.
Don't know if because people might get mad if I make this player come, but just the play style. I don't think he's necessarily as talented, obviously, but when I watch him play, especially in that spring game, I got like flashes of like prime Harrison Smith.
There you go.
Just the hard hitting. Like he comes up and it doesn't matter who you are. His goal is to lay you into the dirt. And it's just, I love that mentality.
I will say this if I had to pick like an all-star team of defense, Harrison Smith would easily be on it without question. I would have Harrison Smith and Kyle Hamilton at safety. Okay. Without question. Okay. Harrison Smith, number one, was really fast. Number two, a big hitter, and was always in the right place at the right time. You can say the same thing about, Xavier Watts or what have you, from last season, which is fair. But as far as, and I think the benefit that I have to say this is because Harrison Smith, extremely successful in the NFL. Look at Kyle Hamilton, very successful with the Ravens. Okay, we'll see what happens with Xavier Watts, on draft day, right? We'll see. So
I don't even think you'd have to choose, though, Irish fans. I feel like you could, if you wanted to have Watts on the team, you could put him at maybe that nickel corner spot. I think he'd be perfect at nickel too.
Yeah,
If you want to just make
that's
everybody
fair.
happy, yeah.
I'm just like going through like who are some of my favorite players and who I thought was impactful and made a positive influence on Notre Dame. You know, it's those guys, and Watts is part of that conversation. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we have this abundance of riches, so to speak, and it's like, well, who do I have to scratch? You know, among these three guys, you know, it's like that's a good position to be in. And two of them have played for the same coach, Marcus Freeman. You know what I'm saying? So good stuff going on there with the defense. Since we're talking about defense, let's transition over to our new defensive coordinator, Mr. Ash, former head coach, I think at Rutgers. We were talking about Rutgers earlier, right? We talked about Talich and stuff. Did you guys see anything different, quote unquote, with the defense, or is the spring game just like the way the spring game was designed, with it be like offense versus defense and this like way overly complicated scoring that just makes zero sense to the average person? Was the spring game really designed around featuring the offense and the quarterbacks and the receivers per se ish? I don't know.
I think it was set up perfectly, actually, because it gave the defense a chance to just rotate team on team, firsts, seconds, thirds, and subbing guys in so the twos got, time with the ones and vice versa. So you saw a lot of that. The biggest change I noticed immediately was zone coverage. So that's completely new because I think besides, who was it? Jason Garrett said it during the spring game that besides Purdue, Notre Dame ran more man-to-man coverage than any other team in college football. So to see that change, which ultimately I think is what hurt us against Ohio State, is they were just crazy talented at receiver and we couldn't keep up. And so I think the zone coverages and disguising those and dropping into man coverage, from time to time out of a zone look is going to help the defense. When you're expected to be man and you are man and you're showing man, there's only so many ways you can disguise it. Yeah. But if you're flipping between man and zone, you're going to be able to flip and coverage and disguise a lot more stunt, a lot more. Blitzes will come more free because of that. So I think the way it was set up was twofold. It gave the offense a chance to really evaluate the quarterbacks. If this really is an even horse race and we saw, the quarterbacks working with the ones, working with the twos, working, with a mix of, each of them got that same look with those same players, which then, okay, if all other variables are the same, then the difference is how each of those quarterbacks played. So I thought it was very brilliant in the evaluation of the quarterback role, who is the number 1, 2, 3, etc. But it also gave the defense chance to play, and it ended up being ones versus ones the majority of the game, and that I loved.
I'll also say this about the defense as well. I agree with everything Red Snapper said, but I don't think that necessarily, to me, the defense played with the same level of intensity. The game plan, outside of, playing more zone coverage, was particularly the same. I'll be honest, I think that Chris Ash is more of a Freeman knows what he likes to run. I think it's still kind of the same system that him and Al Golden ran. I think Chris Ash is just kind of like the overseer, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like he said in his opening press conference that, I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to run Notre Dame's defense. This is not my defense. Yeah. This is Notre Dame's defense. So that's kind of the vibe I got. But I also want to say,
well, he's got to feel out his talent for what is going to be effective for the team this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I also want to say, and I get it's a spring game. We didn't have our starting offensive lineman out there. But I want to point out that to me, the interior run defense with the addition of Jared Dawson and Armel Mukum, it seemed a lot better to me because I think that was the one slight weakness about last year's team was when we faced great running offenses, like a Louisville, like a Penn State, like an Ohio State. That was one of the key weaknesses. We weren't the best run defense in the world. And I think we gave up a lot of extra yards that we necessarily didn't need to in the run defense department, because a lot of times when you might run man, you're susceptible to that. I think that the interior D line has the opportunity to be maybe better than this year, and that's wild to say because you lost Riley Mills and you lost Howard Cross. That's why I say it has the potential. But I mean, Jared Dawson, his size and his just mauling ability at the point of attack is something that Notre Dame's missed on that deal. I mean, he's 300, every bit of 300 pounds.
Yeah, it's interesting.
We haven't had a guy that's 300 pounds in a while on that interior D-line.
Yeah, and to get back to your point, to add some substance to your comment about last year's rush defense, I agree 100%. Backed up by statistics, because I do have. This is actually the first time I'm pulling up the spreadsheet. It's weird. We put the scotch away, and we apparently put this spreadsheet. I just thought of it now. I'm like, why is the spreadsheet not up? Rush defense last year, we were 49th in the country. We allowed 138 yards on average. All right, so better than half, but you have to go back to 2019 for us to be 59th in rush defense, to be worse, quote unquote, than what we were this season. So Ryan, you're 100% correct. Our rush defense was not better. And could have been better, and which is unfortunate because it is the second most important defensive stat behind scoring defense. Now, fortunately, our scoring defense was ranked 4th. But if we want to talk about rushing yard points, which is what we are talking about, because it clearly matters, because it is the third most important stat. Total touchdowns is number 1. Scoring defense number 2, rush defense number 3.
And I mean, I want to add a little bit of, kind of give maybe a little bit of a break there, because we did play 2 teams in Army and Navy that could be down 30 points, 40 points,
That's
and they're
fair.
still going to run the ball. But even if you take those 2 games out, right, just look at how Notre Dame performed against teams that were good at running the football, and it wasn't very good. Even games against Texas A&M.
Yeah, against the teams that matter, right?
Yeah, I thought Texas A&M. I thought that they would have. I don't know if they would have won the football game. I don't think they would have, but I think they would have put themselves in a better situation to have a chance to win if they would have ran the football, because they were able to run the football against us, but they got caught up in trying to pass the ball too much. I think that's something that I'd like to see improve definitely this year. And I think you saw slight, chances of that in the spring game for sure.
Yeah, that's a legit comment, legit point. Let's see, rushing yards. Texas A&M did have 146 against us. Not nearly as bad as the juggernaut from Northern Illinois that put up 198 on us. Sorry, we're gonna keep talking about that. But what I will say is, I don't want to be too prophetic here, and it's all water under the bridge at this point. But I'm pretty sure that without the, let me say this, I said this to the doc tonight, because I told it, I'm going to podcast tonight, and, we're going to talk about the season, and, we're moving to the next season. And she's like, yeah, no, it was a great season. And I said, a lot of the watermark and the measuring stick has always been that 1993 season. And I said to her, in hindsight, now that I look back at this season and then what I know about the 93 season, I'm going to go on a limb and say that this 2024 team was better than the 1993 season. Maybe not like the players and the number of talent and people like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just how we did. And I think a lot of that has to do with the mentality, mental toughness, and fortitude and focus that our team, engaged post that Northern Illinois game. We lost. We were embarrassed at home. And then we managed to just, urinate all over Purdue and then just run, roughshod through the rest of the schedule, and then we go to bowl games and we kick ass, and then we get to the championship game and we have a really bad second quarter, and that's pretty much it. So the point is, the 93 season was so good, but I do think the 2024 season was better. And so I've made note, because I just thought of this tonight at like 7:30. This will be a stat piece we will do comparing 2024 to 1993, and we'll have to kind of normalize this somehow, even though there's like 31 years separating the two seasons. But you guys get my point. This has become the new benchmark, especially since the playoff and national champion situation is completely different. It's not voted by AP. You got this committee, it's a 12-team playoff format, right? It's really the best two teams clearly are going hand in hand. And sadly, we were number 2 at the end of when the dust settled last year. But it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
all right.
I do think though it is ironic though. You compare those two teams, and the one key difference was one team had a horrible loss to begin the season, and the other one had a horrible loss to end the season.
At the end of the season, yeah.
That national championship appearance.
Fuck, it's so bad. It's so bad. And what's yeah, and I do recall the 93 season, that's for sure. So yeah. All right, let's move on to some of our people who are patiently waiting. Mac, I see you there on mute. If you're there, bring the baby on too. What's up? Oh man, Johnny on the spot. What's up, Mac?
I am doing well. How are you?
Happy Holy Tuesday.
Yes.
I'm trying to teach my 3-year-old here, because he's very intrigued with Palm Sunday, and I'm trying not to be stabbed in the eye during Mass, but I'm telling him no, wave the palm around and say Hosanna, and he's like, I don't think he's quite getting it, but
no. Well, I'm at the point where, how, I don't know if your church has this, but we have the side chapel where you put all the kids.
No, we do not. We just have a narthex.
So we have the side chapel, and there's like a sliding glass door.
The cry room.
So I can,
yeah.
So essentially, so my son, he's now 18, 19 months, and so he brings his cars and plays his cars as I worship. So it's kind of, we're at that phase. So we're not, it doesn't bother anybody.
Oh, we have cars and palm branches, so it's just chaos, chaos in the pew. Mac, how did you enjoy the spring game?
I did, and I wrote some notes that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, here we go. Here, let me pour some more bourbon here. Continue.
I only wrote. I had 2 negatives. Look, the person.
2.
This is not the
2.
The first.
Well, I can't figure out 2.
The first that I'm gonna say, and this is no fault of this kid's own, and I really like this kid, especially because he's
young man.
Italian.
Say young man.
Young man. Sorry, especially because he's an Italian. It's Steve Angeli. He did not have a good game. He's not better. He shouldn't. In my opinion, I know that Ryan was like, this wasn't a real game. It was for those 3 players. You could tell they designed the whole game to evaluate.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree 100% that the format of the spring game is centered around, all right, let's make sure our quarterbacks and receivers are not split up. Let's put them all so they all get kind of a uniform rotation amongst themselves. I feel you. Continue.
Angeli for me didn't make the cut. I love that kid. He's a good Notre Dame kid.
Young man.
Well, you know what? When you're almost 40, everyone. I get what my parents used to say when they call us.
How old are they?
My parents?
No, I don't give a shit about your parents. With all due respect to Mr. and Mrs. Mack. No, the Notre Dame players. How old are they?
They are men. But
that's my point.
sorry.
So don't
All
treat them
right.
like children. They're not children. If there was a
I
fucking war, they'd be drafted and they could buy a pack of cigs. You know what I'm saying?
understand. Anyway,
They're
I
old
like
enough
it.
to storm Normandy. Get it
Um,
right. All right.
so let me
Sorry to
get-
come down hard on you. That's a trigger for me. Okay.
So one thing that I saw about Angeli is he takes a little bit long to process, and he holds the ball a little long. So when it was
He does do that.
when it was 3rd and 6 or whatever, and you knew it was a passing down, and it's a down where you know that the defense is going to come after you, right? You got to get rid of it, and he held it a little long, and I thought that was really his downfall. The second negative is in between the 20s. Yes, like it was very easy for the receivers to get open and kind of scheme, but as you could see, and let's be honest, that it's biased towards the offense, as we mentioned. In the red zone, I felt that the receivers struggled to get separation. And I understand that you're saying that, I know what's his name, the lacrosse player isn't there, but it's not like he was getting
The
separation in the
lacrosse
red
player.
zone against. But it wasn't like him and Greathouse were getting separation in the red zone against Penn State. Just like they could get. That's my point. Is we have good receivers, not elite receivers, and that comes down to who I would like to see as a quarterback. I thought Carr looks great as a pure passer. He's a little bit more accurate than Minchie because he's got good footwork, really good footwork. But what Minchie
Greyhouse, who has been like, especially in the last couple games, Penn State game and the.
I'd say he was elite. I'd say he's elite.
Well, he is. Well, and his ability. I'll throw it back to you in a second. All I'm saying is Greyhouse didn't even get a single pass in this game.
No.
One. He got one when he crossed up a defender, in which actually he put a defender on skates. He's more of a slot guy than a.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the stat sheet that Notre Dame FightingIrish.com puts out, and I don't even see Greyhouse's name here.
Yeah, because I remember him getting one catch, but like I said, he was out there getting cardio.
Was it like the 7-on-7 piece, or? I don't know. I legitimately doubt. I do see Talich at the top of the total tackle, list, so that's cool.
So I want to go say who I would pick for quarterback, and I feel, look, again, when he put the guy on skates, they had the ball at the 40, so he had room to work with. My point is for any team, it's hardest to score when you're in the red zone because there's so many. It's hard to find open space. I think we can all agree about that. Mm-hmm. That's why I would say I would have Kenny Minchie as the quarterback, and let me tell you why.
What?
100% agree.
I'm going to tell you why. It forces you to put a linebacker on him, and now the defense, it's 11 versus 11, instead of 11 versus 10. Where Carr, he's not going to be able to roll out to the pylon like when they had that touchdown. He could have. Here's the thing: that defender for Notre Dame, the defender, he chose to take 9. Who was the tight end who had a really good day? Number 9. There was a screen. He had to choose: do I take the tight end or do I take Kenny? Well, Kenny, he took the tight end, so Kenny ran in. Well, if he came after Kenny, all Kenny had to do was kind of float it to the tight end, number 9, and they'd have a touchdown. It's that dynamic.
So you want the quarterback that was 6 of 14?
I didn't say he was a better pure passer. I'm saying.
Well, then why is he playing quarterback?
But you're a running team. And
I agree with that.
He allows you to do.
I would say that's not a Denbrock offense. The Denbrock offense is not what. The Denbrock offense is a deep shot focus. It's a deep shot
Daniel.
I'm just saying, like, you could do RPOs with him. And another thing is it forces the defense to not be as aggressive when you have an athletic quarterback like that. And it might make your running offense even better because they have to stay set instead of being aggressive, if that makes sense.
That's the best weapon the best weapon for any run game is a pass game, and the best pass game to open up the interior of the entire field is to throw the ball downfield. The
But I
best
say,
one clearly is CJ Carr. The
Yes.
most accurate pass.
I
You
mean,
need that weapon to run the damn ball.
He had
Kenny
170
went-
yards.
And
Kenny
more
had two good
importantly-
40-yard passes down the sideline, and one of them was in double coverage where he needled that in
One-
on the sideline.
More importantly, CJ Carr doesn't need to show his wheels because of his arm. I guarantee you, he's got wheels.
I like
he puts the ball-
can I jump in
he
here,
incorporate-
gentlemen?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Look, what was the play that put the nail in the coffin for Notre Dame in the national championship game? It was a long fucking pass, okay? And we were only down by 8 at that point, okay? And then as soon as that play happened, it was a great play. It was game over because the down distance and then they scored. Like it wasn't going to happen after that. So my point, and I'm kind of like I'm agreeing with Red Snapper here. Sorry, Mac, is that a pure pocket passer allows your offense to do so many good things. I mean, like, look at, with all due respect, Mac, I mean, look, if you have the Vince Young, Michael Vick, kind of guy, yeah, but we don't have that guy. And if you're telling me that Kenny Minchie is that guy, I may ask you to take a cup, go down to HR, okay? No.
Let me pose a question. Let me pose a question really quick. Okay?
I just think Carr is the pure pocket passer in an environment when we have two very good running backs that are exceptional.
Williams, 3.
Well, okay, 3, fine. That's even better. You're proving my point. All right, back to
I just
Ryan.
think with Minchie, you're allowed to do a lot more. You could do a lot more creative things. That's all.
Yeah, I don't care about creativity. I care about what we know is a known quantity and what works. I mean, Joe Burrow is not the most mobile guy, and he threw for 1 billion shit ton at LSU.
This is the opportunity that we have to rely on our running game and develop a young quarterback.
So that's my point. The running game can be a crutch, quite frankly, for CJ Carr to thrive.
Yeah, and I think, again, I also think that if you want somebody to run the Denbrock offense, CJ Carr is the guy that let's all, besides Jaden Daniels, right? If you look at all the offenses that Mike Denbrock has had since he left Notre Dame in 2015, you look at Kaiser. I wouldn't even say Kaiser was really a dual threat because he mostly sat in the pocket. He could run.
That's because that's what Kelly wanted.
He wasn't going to run for like 20-plus yards, right?
That's what Kelly wants.
He was a great. Okay, and then you go to him at Cincinnati. Desmond Ridder was a guy that was a great passer at Cincinnati, and he was able to run for like a 10-yard gain when he needed to.
Yep.
But he wasn't like a run first.
I was
guy.
literally thinking of this yesterday about Desmond Ridder. I'm like, fuck.
And I think CJ Carr is that guy. And again, I think CJ Carr personally, people act like talk about him and the Kenny Minchie stuff like Carr's a statue. I don't think Carr is way more mobile than Angeli is. I think if you watch the spring game, Carr's able to roll out and avoid pressure.
Yeah.
He's not going to go out there and be Riley and go out you and get you like a 30-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, and do like the juke and the stiff arm, right, against fucking Purdue,
He can run, but he can go get you a first down if a play breaks down, or at least a couple, a 5-yard gain. That's the thing with him, is I think if you want somebody that can run Denbrock's offense, you just look at the quarterbacks that have ran his offense, take out Jaden Daniels, CJ Carr is the perfect mold for what he wants to do. And the problem is, I think Minchie is more athletic than anybody in that room. Nobody will argue that. The problem is he is nowhere near as mature of a passer
That's the
as
point.
CJ Carr is.
I am dying. Let's put it another way. Who's more like Brady Quinn? It's Carr. Everyone knows the fucking answer to that. Let me ask you. Brady Quinn walks in the door. Do you want him to be a quarterback? The answer is a resounding yes. Okay. Using that same logic, look at our quarterback room today. Who is most like Brady Quinn? It's CJ fucking Carr.
But who's more like Lamar Jackson?
I don't give a shit about Lamar Jackson.
Or who's the guy from the Eagles?
Lamar Jackson didn't win a national
Jalen
championship.
Hurts?
Neither did
Does
Brady
anybody
Quinn.
remember the hype surrounding Brandon Wimbush when he was at Notre Dame?
That was
he
the
could
most
run.
overinflated nonsense.
He
With all
was
due
a guy that
respect to
could run.
Wimbush, because he actually is high on the RTDB tab in the spreadsheet because of how many rushing touchdowns he had. Not because of his passing ability.
I remember when he had that game against UMass, and I can't remember how long exactly the rush. It was like a 60-plus yard rush touchdown.
I was at that game.
And everybody was like, man, Brandon Wimbush is going to be that guy because of his running ability. Then you figured out, man, this guy stinks as a passer.
He was not a
And
good
teams
passer.
just like,
Or maybe
teams
his
dialed in
quarterback
on that.
coach wasn't very good.
That too.
Reese. Okay. All right, let's move on. We brought Matt on. Mac, you've given your opinion. Mac, do you have an opinion of the punting? No, we didn't see punting
Well, I
in
just
the
wanted
spring
to say
game.
one
But
thing about Price. Just real
you
quick.
are the specialist of special teams.
About Price, real quick. I just wanted to say before I go, I was very pleased with his day. I know he only had 4 rushes, but I felt like I don't know. He looked a little bit more explosive.
I count 6, but
Was it 4? Okay? I'm sorry. I don't have him on my hand.
that's
you know
okay.
what I
I'm
mean.
cheating. I've got this official Notre Dame stats up.
I love how he was decisive, made one cut, and went. And
Hell
he
yeah.
put his head down, and he ran really hard. And I felt he looked more explosive and ran harder than he did last year. I was like, whoa. And that's going to keep Miles off the odometer of Jordan Love. So,
Jeremiah
I would
Love.
love to see. Jeremiah Love. I would love to see. I'm going to be very happy. And I would like to see Price as a closer. He reminds me of Jordan Mason.
I would prefer both of them in the backfield in kind of a split back.
No, give me Wishbone.
That's what I'm saying. And Carr under center.
That's it. I just wanted to.
Are we on a game show?
You are now.
Right.
We might be on a game show.
Ryan, how are you, buddy?
If you do not know what this is, you guys are off your rocker. All right.
I know what this is.
Price looked stronger. Price looked
He looked great. I've been playing that shit ever since the first spring game I saw Price. I'm like, that dude's got boogie. He's got power. I've had to kind of walk back my position on Price versus Jeremiah Love just based off of what we've actually seen on game day. But that being said, that doesn't mean that Price is bad. It's like, he's still awesome. Like, my favorite play of the spring game is the first play where Price does like.
I do gotta say about Price. I agree with what Mac said. To me, he looked. I don't know. I think he looked leaner in the spring game. I also think he looked like 2 steps faster. I don't think he just looked 1 step.
He's so good.
2 steps faster.
He looks stronger.
Yeah,
He does.
Stronger.
He looks more muscular.
Yeah, he was running with power, and he was getting 3 yards after first contact too.
but if we're also talking about running backs that need love, can we talk about Nolan James? Because we've went this entire time without talking about the freshman phenom and Nolan James that was running over people. He looks like a mixture. If Kyron Williams
3 receptions for 60 yards. Yeah, the long of 37.
If Kyron Williams and Josh Adams had a baby, that would be Nolan James.
It's kind of a weird mix there, but okay.
Well, what do we think of our tight end play in Jack Larson?
Awesome. I love Jack Larson. I mean, Carr seemed to already have.
It's going to be our X factor.
I was thinking of that in the winter about, everyone else is ducking for cover during tornadoes, and I'm like, who's going to be the new breakout tight end for Notre Dame? No, that's not true. But no. Well, we brought Matt on at Matt Foster DTX. Dope.
Yeah, that's my boy Ryan. I just wanted to come in here because I needed to tell Ryan. I actually have information from a question you asked me about Jacob Zeno.
Yep.
He was paid. He did get paid for being an adult
Oh, okay.
and a babysitter, basically.
What does this have to do with Notre Dame?
Not as a Texas A&M fan.
Well,
Yikes.
welcome, Matt, to the Fighting Irish Faithful podcast, season 6, episode 1, officially. And then we're gonna go dark for the next, God, how many months? 4. It's gonna be at least 3 months before you guys hear me again. It'll be August. What the fuck am I gonna talk about in July? Give me a fucking break, right? Like
Independence, duh.
Hey, what do you guys think about
just put on a fucking Ken Burns film, if you want to talk
do
about.
an emergency show if one of the quarterbacks enter the portal?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Like, is that really a threat?
But where would they go?
Well, Ryan Roberts just put out a tweet about an hour ago
Who?
saying that
Does he hang out with Mike Singer? Mike Singer is officially banned. Mike Singer is officially banned from this show unless I get an apology, okay? Because he was rude. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
Ryan Roberts put out a tweet about an hour ago stating that there might be 1 or 2 surprises from the Notre Dame football team entering the portal. So I saw that and I'm like, oh no. Better not, as long as it's not CJ Carr. I mean,
right?
Well, good. Yeah.
Or Price.
Or Price.
Or Love.
Lover.
Yeah.
Like seriously, those 3 guys, or Anthony Knapp. I don't know. Like that's kind of my position here. All right, let's move on. We've got Coach Parsegian and Mike. Let's get some of our old regulars on here. Coach Parsegian, and we're gonna bring him and Mike Sloan on simultaneously. And then it's kind of a flip the coin to see who gets on first. Couple things here. I read today. I don't know why it took till today for me to find this.
Yeah.
But the Boise State game is going to be the quote Peacock game for the people who are not in stadium. Now, what's funny about that, or fortunate, that is the game I actually am planning to go to. If anyone's new, of course, all the people here are not new. No, Boise State is my second team behind Notre Dame. I absolutely love the Broncos. But I have no doubts, no wavering opinions per se when my Broncos come to South Bend. Notre Dame, blue and gold through and through, not blue and orange. That being said, beat the shit out of the Broncos. And but that game's on Peacock, but that is the game I'm planning to go to. So if we are going to have an assembly of the faithful, I'm personally pushing for the Boise State game.
I'm planning to be there.
Brilliant. Coach Parsegian, what's up, man?
I would have been on earlier, but the kids had baseball games.
I would have podcasted earlier, but my 3-year-old decided not to fall asleep until after 9:15 p.m. So,
my kid, as you may have seen within the last month, gets drafted by the Dodgers of all teams. We are a Yankee fan household, and they played the Yankees tonight, and they got their ass kicked. So,
I sense some under the table things happening. Coach Parsegian, how's your off season been, or what's your opinion of the blue and gold game, or you don't give a shit because we talked about practice?
well, it is a glorified practice.
It's practice.
But QB1B, hands down, is, from everything I've seen and read, CJ Carr.
Yep.
QB1A, hands down, Dr. Abby.
We talking about practice.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dr. Abby was legit on opening up Peacock with the spring game, 100%.
But I'm not more so worried about the depth chart. I could care less about the depth chart right now. My biggest concern, and I know it doesn't matter that much as it pertains to the 12-team playoff, because you can give one loss and still make it. It's just the fact that where are we going to stub our toe this year? It's usually been at home, and it's always been a game that we should have dominated. It's very likely it could easily be Texas A&M or possibly Boise State.
I mean, I'm kind of more concerned about,
I just want to get through Miami first.
I mean, Miami is going to be an away game. Yeah, Texas A&M at home. Like, what's funny is we don't have like your typical like MAC team, kind of let's jump down to 2026. We're playing Southern Methodist. If I'll give $1 to anybody who knows where the fuck that is.
Dallas.
Wait, is that SMU?
Yes.
Fuck you, ND Nation. I retract that. We just put SMU. Okay, never mind. Okay, if it's SMU, that's different. Okay, all right. Sorry.
Speaking of the Miami game, I will be in Miami for that game.
Do you live in Florida?
No, I'm just making the trip out. So
that's another one.
Really? You like humidity?
That's another one that is causing me concerns.
Why?
We finally broke the curse of playing in Miami against Penn State.
That is true.
But we didn't.
If we want to win the national championship this year, we would have to win against Miami and Hard Rock to begin the season, and then win the national championship to end of the season at Hard Rock. So,
is that where the Natty is this year?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So that would be fitting to start and end in Miami.
Oof, it's like
hopefully both
bookends there.
With all the demons we exercised last year, we might as well just keep it going.
Whiz, yeah, 2 New Year's Sixes. It's funny.
We beat Miami in Miami.
Yeah.
Oh. We're writing this down. Hold on.
It was before Hard Rock was the stadium, whatever the old Orange Bowl was.
Yes.
But it's been that long. Probably the 60s, maybe the 70s.
It's been a minute.
That prior to the U becoming the U, but it's been a long time.
So I've got it pulled up here. The last time Notre Dame won in Miami against Miami when it was not Hard Rock was in. It was. Man, Notre Dame did not win in Hard Rock or even in Miami in general.
Are you on Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So it was 1977 was the last time.
Oh, who was the coach
in Miami?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's not good.
We're talking to him. Era Parseghian.
Yeah.
In 77, that would be divine.
That's divine.
Oh, what am I saying? I've been drinking.
But hey, it's a national title year, so
yeah. So
for all the shit people give to Divine, I have gone on. I recall multiple podcasts of the past where I was given divine praise and shitting all over Kelly.
So we've actually only played Miami at Miami Gardens, which is the current Hard Rock. Once,
2017.
And we
that was
talk about that
fucking embarrassment. That was a terrible game.
I hope we have a better fan turnout, because I'll be honest, there should be
no
reason
that's not why we lost.
Well, I get that, but I'm saying there is no reason we shouldn't take over at least 40% of that stadium.
I mean, I don't even know how well, quote unquote, Miami did last year. I don't know. Like,
well, they don't have Cam
They
Ward
started
anymore.
off hot, but then cooled off.
All I know is I'm looking at this 2025 schedule, and I'm just like, fuck. like Purdue and Arkansas look like a little bit of reprieve, but it's like like Miami, Texas A&M, you know, they're on the up and up, or they're gonna try to be. I will say that. And then you got fucking
Arkansas scares the
Boise, a
crap out of them.
playoff team. You know, NC State, okay, whatever. SC, our rival. We'll see what the fuck Lincoln Riley's doing.
Gonna be
BC,
getting
fuck
fired
that
now.
team. But that game's at you know, in fuck, what's it's not Chapel, that's North Carolina. Fuck, what's up? What the fuck? Where is Boston College?
Boston. It's in Boston.
No, I know that. No,
Chestnut Hill.
Chestnut Hill.
That's
Thank
what it
you. All right. Gosh, it's just I'm usually more quick, but the coffee from this morning is worn off. It's also 11:30 at night. All right, all right. We talked about Boise on Peacock. We got Coach Barsegian on here.
Me off.
Yeah, no, because you can just come to the game, the Boise game.
Well, where am I supposed to stay?
Well, stay with me.
Uh-oh.
You got an extra ticket?
TBD. I don't know yet. Like the lottery shit hasn't come out yet. All right. I made my donation. We'll see what happens. All right. You know people. We know people. You know people. Okay. We'll
Yeah,
figure
I know a
it
lot
out.
of people that
Okay.
hate me right now too.
Those people, you know, I you know, whatever. Okay. Those people don't understand you. They need to be more. Those people are also half hypocrites. Can I put it that way?
Well, as you put it, they're rather soft as well. So
They might be soft. Okay. Yes. They require blue pills sometimes. Okay.
The
Where are
whole
we going?
Peacock thing, you've got arguably a very high-profile game with two recent second round playoff teams meeting in the middle of the
The
year.
schedule
and
is
you're gonna
very
put it on
front
Peacock,
heavy. It's
which
very
is
front
one
heavy. If we
of
get
the
through
most
SC
daily
undefeated,
networks on the planet.
it's an undefeated season. Okay,
think if you
unless
go-
Pittsburgh and Stanford all of a sudden come out of the woodwork, but I don't think so.
I think if we beat Miami and A&M, I think you're going to go undefeated.
Yep.
Don't overlook the Broncos, man. I'm just saying.
know.
I'll tell you this: Bronco Nation travels well. The
I
Boise
know. I went
State
to
people
Austin for
are
that game.
gonna be on fucking point to be there. I'm trying to work really hard to get my former teammate Ian Johnson on the show, but that's a spoiler alert. Okay, I'm trying real hard to do that. I don't know how that's gonna work, but I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna do this, but you know, because he's like, ski, forget you, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
What game scares me more than the game that scares me the most is every year when the football schedule comes out, I go down the list of possible away games that I look to and I go, that could be a trap game. A game that most people would be
Arkansas
like, Notre Dame should. Yes.
Yeah.
or
Arkansas
fucking
game
Pittsburgh. Fuck
scares-
Pittsburgh, man.
Arkansas scares the ever living crap out of me just because. Not that I don't think Notre Dame's clearly the better team, right? There's no question about that. But Arkansas, for whatever reason, over the last couple of years, they have 1 to 2 games where they play a top 10, top 15
They play
team
really
at
well.
home, and they either win or they get really close to winning for no reason at all. And if you know, I guarantee you, because this will be the most eyeballs on an Arkansas football game in a very long time.
Mhm.
I guarantee you they're going to make that game with Notre Dame coming to town. They're going to make it a night game. And Arkansas at night, we saw what happened last time when a top 10 Tennessee team went in there.
Tennessee. They were already shit.
I get it. I'm just saying it's scary. That has trap game written all over it.
I don't think it's a
It
trap
does.
game. I think like a Pittsburgh game is more like a trap game, but like Arkansas is more like it reminds me more of like the Texas A&M game. Like you see it and it's like, this is a big opponent. You're deep in SEC country, right? This is a program that's craving for, success, and they're trying to get out of the pit of despair they've been in. Okay, the chains are much too thick. They can't get out. Hopefully people got the reference there. And it's like, no, I'm with you, Ryan. I think that the Arkansas game is huge. That's why I say you get through our rival, Southern California, USC. You get through that undefeated, I think you're good, because it's the rival, right? It's Lincoln Riley is historically been good. I don't give two shits about SC. I think they're they need to fall into the Pacific Ocean. Sorry, Red Snapper. We'll cut it off at Orange County. But you guys get my point. Like, I don't like this team. So, all right. Enough projection of next season after Coach Parsegian finishes his piece.
I'll just say this. USC, especially the way they played at home last year against Notre Dame, worries me more than Arkansas. I get Arkansas can be a little finicky, but they've not been good since Houston McNutt, whatever it is, with Darren McFadden, who I still argue to this day should have played Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl in 2007 instead of LSU, because Arkansas finished ahead of LSU. But anyway, that's the last time Arkansas was anybody. USC, the way they played last year at home, worries me more. I feel like they're going to be out for blood this year.
Yeah, I just think that for me, it's like you get that, that mantra. Everybody, a lot of people Super Bowl. You got a team in Arkansas that's desperate. Their coach is on the hot seat, and they're desperate. I mean, they're going to come into that game. Their fan base is going to come into that game desperate as all get out. And that's where, if you're Notre Dame and you don't come in there and you don't take an opponent seriously and you play like your C game, we've seen teams do that with Arkansas. I mean, Alabama, just a couple years ago, that won the SEC championship, went in there and just barely escaped with a 5-point victory against a terrible Arkansas team. So, I mean, that's the part that scares me.
I think that's a very
100%,
legit.
But I would argue the SEC is always the SEC, where they beat up on each other, but they don't necessarily beat up on everybody else. At least not anymore.
I think time will tell. I think, but I mean, that's the end of September. So we'll see where some of the cards have fallen. And also where Notre Dame is, in all of that. So,
but I will patiently wait for this ticket lottery.
Yeah, usually the latest that's ever come out, Coach, is like June or something. So just you got my number. Like just hang tight. So, so we'll see. All right, one other thing I wanted to talk about. We talked about Boise game being on Peacock. Squawk.
Recruiting at all?
We can't talk about recruiting. I kind of like to avoid that just because, I've been so, my heart's been swung left and right. And, recruiting is the endless thing. And this is no disrespect to anyone who likes following recruiting. You do you do what you want to do with your time, okay? My problem with recruiting now is, look at the nonsense we just saw this week with Tennessee. Look at all the emotion we've put around, players who are like, oh, is he going to sign with Notre Dame? And then he goes somewhere else. Or, oh, yay, we got, this guy, and then it doesn't pan out, right? It's so I like recruiting. I like talking about the guys when they do sign officially or even make verbal commits. I think that's fun too. But in the era that we are now, honestly, in my opinion, recruiting is not as fun as it used to be. That's my opinion.
I just like to talk about it because the Gregory Patrick, I went to school with him.
Recruiting is, you can constantly talk about it, all right? Because it's always a fluid thing that is going on, and that's fine. But for this show, the way it operates, Scotch spreadsheet. Well, it's bourbon tonight, but Woodford Reserve specifically tonight. But the point being is I try to avoid it because it's like, well, if we talk about it and it doesn't pan out, then what was the point, right? So I would rather talk about.
There is another Brady Quinn who is apparently visiting Notre Dame, and a quarterback at that.
Will he be playing next year at Notre Dame?
No.
Then I don't care.
That's a negative attitude.
Is it or is it a factual fact?
Hey man, 5-star receiver Julius Jones Jr. 2027.
That's different. Okay.
How is it different?
It's not. I was. You fell for my trap. Okay. Let's talk about things that are actually going to happen at Notre Dame Stadium next year. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Beer.
Yes.
Alcohol and beer is finally going to be sold at Notre Dame Stadium. Now, what's funny is all the reason. Now, let me back up. I've only been to a handful of other stadiums, specifically Ross-Ade and the fucking Coliseum. And the last time I went to a Notre Dame game at the Coliseum was 1998. I was in 7th grade. And it was during the Davy year. So, I'm dating myself here. That being said, beer is finally going to be served at Notre Dame Stadium. So Pete Bavacqua is like, hey, there's a shit ton of money we're missing out on. Yes, that's correct. There is a shit ton of money you are missing out on. 2, take note of the hostile, loud environment that was Notre Dame Stadium during the IU game that I was present at with Luis, Dr. Abby, and a few other of the faithful, Jason, Irish JTL. Adam Dowling, although he was up kind of in the suites, but, staying warm while the rest of us froze our asses off. Hey, respect. Hey, it's your money. Be thankful the government didn't take more of it, right? It's fine. You do what you want to do with your money. My point is this. The attitude that the alcohol is going to make a more hostile environment, I think, is a real thing. We had a lot of the wine and cheese crowd was not at the IU game. There was a lot of passionate fans. There were very little people with kids. Again, the night game atmosphere and the cold. It was a lot of like young adults, kind of middle-aged people. Very few old people. Very few little kids. So you take the extremes of the age spectrum out of the stadium, and you ended up with what we had at IU. Now, granted, it was a playoff game, and some other intensities were going on. Fair. All I'm saying is, I remember reading an article about stadiums, and this is going back a few years, and I think it was the first year that the Chiefs were doing really well, or something to that effect, with Mahomes. I'm paraphrasing here, but they were talking about the people who were why were the Chiefs and their stadium, why was it a loud environment? And the answer was it was primarily young men who were in the crowd yelling, right? So that was just more of just a fact of the demographic of the fan. Okay. Now, you take that same thing and you put it in Notre Dame Stadium, yes, you're going to have a loud stadium. Now, Notre Dame's trying to kind of Disney it up and make it Catholic Disneyland and make it a family-friendly environment. And I'll say this, and I've been to many games, and some people, followers of the show, Red Snapper, Mike 5'0", whatever, people I've sat with, where we've had some interactions, I'm using air quotes on that, with other fans, and people like either wanting me to sit down or this, that, and the other. I tell them, like, look, you paid for your seats. I paid for my seats. We should both be able to enjoy this game simultaneously within reason. So when there's a big play, I should be allowed to stand. And when nothing's going on, fine. If you want me to sit, I'll sit. Okay? That being said, those kind of conversations are fucking bullshit. because during the IU game that I sat with we didn't sit at all. Believe it or not, that's the punchline. Me, my dad, Luis, his son, right, Dr. Abby, we were all in kind of the same section, but not just our section, the whole fucking stadium. Everybody was standing. Everyone was standing. And if selling beer is helping with that, I am on board. Okay.
Just don't piss off the foreigners that sit in front of you.
Who knows what the fuck that guy was all about? Yeah, that's
Man, we used to pray for times like this, alcohol in Notre Dame Stadium.
It's happening. It's happening. I guarantee you it's a financial thing. They're like, someone ran some numbers, had to put a legit PowerPoint slide together and say, look, do you guys realize how much money we're missing out on not doing this? And they probably
do we not have enough money already.
Well, that's not. Well, I mean, hey, the federal government's cutting down on, the Department of Education grants. I don't care, like whatever. The point is, it's not about money. It's about a stadium environment. Everybody else is selling alcohol. I was at Ross-Ade Stadium in Purdue. I didn't see people being belligerent there. Granted, Notre Dame was, up by $1 billion and half the Purdue fans left in the second quarter, right? So, like, all I'm saying is Notre Dame probably did their due diligence, did a diagonal slice of surveys of other schools, other programs, other places that sell alcohol in their stadium, and they're like, hey, what sort of, issues have you had? I highly doubt it's going to be worse than what they're dealing with now. Like, if they really think selling alcohol live in the stadium is worse than some of the absolute drunkards and sick people not well, because they tailgated too hard. And that might be another thing. Maybe people are tailgating really hard because they know they can't get alcohol in the stadium. So maybe by the fact of you serving alcohol, you're preventing people from being overly sick or overly intoxicated before they even get in the stadium. I'm just throwing that out there as maybe a silver lining in all of this. Okay, I don't know.
I will say, though, in situations where you have the Virginia game again, which that's the first time I've ever seen Notre Dame fans throw stuff on the field over a referee call.
Ouch.
I don't know if that was because they saw Texas fans do it the week before.
Oh, it was 100% because of Texas.
People thought it would be funny because they were mad at the refs to just throw bottles and stuff. But, like, can you imagine, like, people having full-on beer and, like, getting thrown instead of water bottles and, like, stadium cups? Like, that's... Oh man, to me, it's gonna raise the atmosphere for sure. But like, you're gonna definitely see more people. I feel like the drunkies and stuff. They're definitely gonna have more people probably getting kicked out and more.
I don't know. That beer is gonna be like $18. So I don't. Maybe you don't want to throw it.
Once you get a few in you, man. I mean, I think a lot of these people forget how much the beer is.
What quarter is it? Oh, it's only the second. Oh yeah, we can go get another one. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
it also depends on the weather.
It does depend on the weather.
When it gets cold, you're gonna have a lot more sales.
Yeah. Maybe in that Navy Syracuse space in November. That might not be the case, but how many people get irate during a Navy game, right? Like,
no, not really.
Syracuse, give me a break. Okay, why the fuck is the Syracuse game always the last home game? Does anyone feel like that's the case? Like, why can't? I don't know.
Most times I feel like most times we usually put like a pretty easy game on our ACC slate. Yeah, for senior day.
That's fair.
When was the last time Notre Dame lost a senior day game? It's gotta be a while.
I was at two of them, UConn and Syracuse. So thank you for reminding me while I was a student. Thanks, Ryan. On that note,
probably 2016.
Well, 2016 actually is correct because that was Louisville. All right. I had one other funny thought on a wrinkle of this. Oh, is that a train?
Choo-choo.
Yeah, sorry, I'm outside. My new car tag came in today.
We are playing Purdue on September 20th, and Coach Parsegian is excited. Which is funny because I work with Purdue people, so another opportunity to be a dick at work. Okay,
I'm so excited to get rid of them off the schedule and play
so
Michigan State.
much fun. I will say this: going to Purdue, beating the shit out of them, and then bringing in donuts on Monday and putting the score on the inside of the box, so anyone who lifts up the box, they see the score.
I'm not gonna lie. Like
I'm that asshole at work.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't have a lot of necessarily hatred towards. But you know what Purdue's like? Purdue's like that are like
annoying brother. I don't know.
No, I'd say like we were not even really fully related. Like
Red Snapper. I don't know.
Adopted like brother.
that annoying adopted
the
brother.
Annoying
that, like,
family member. I don't know.
that comes to the family reunion once every couple of years, and you just like you just kind of deal with them because you kind of feel bad.
You just gotta deal with them, I don't know.
We didn't feel bad this year when the little guy came over to the family reunion. We told him to get us a beer.
It was so great, man. We beat the shit out of Purdue. Man, that was so much. That was such a fun game to go to. I was so glad that was the away game I went to.
Dude, their fans legitimately thought they were going to be good last year because they blew out Indiana State.
They blew out Indiana State, yeah. And I'm like going through the stats. I'm like, man, they killed them, like compared to what Notre Dame had done in the first 2 games, and it's just like, and then it was over, midway through the second. So
worst loss in the series history is absolutely.
So
there were people crying and everything.
That was great. I will say this with respect to the beer in the stadium. A lot of the thought is that the wine and cheese crowd will kind of, be put at bay. Kind of put it that way. However, if they are allowing alcohol, I actually think it would be funny, and I do think Notre Dame should do this. Okay, I'm gonna go on record because A, I think it would be funny, and B, I think it could make money. They need a couple of stands down in the lower section.
Charcuterie board.
Kinda like a charcuterie board. They literally need wine and cheese stands. A place where you can get a glass of wine and some cheese, and they need to say wine and cheese.
Board. They need a charcuterie.
They need wine and cheese stands at Notre Dame because I think that would be just so ironic and funny. Especially for all of us on social media who complain about the wine and cheese crowd, but actually serve wine and cheese in Notre Dame Stadium, and maybe that'll and like put up like velvet ropes or do something creative, just like make it like have a string quartet. I don't care, okay? That would be hilarious. To which I said this to the doc, and then my brain went, wait a second, what if we actually had like a wine and cheese tailgate and had like a string quartet and like a carving station and like have it catered like with people with white gloves, in like the parking lot. And Ashley's like, that would be an awesome tailgate. I'm like, actually, I think it would be from a food standpoint. Jason, Dos Leprechauns, get on that one. So wine and cheese tailgate. Anyway, I had to mention that. That's just kind of more, shoot from the hip kind of nonsense here. That's kind of the end of my notes here for the show. We can talk about recruiting or something, but we're about 2 hours in, gentlemen. So, and ladies who are listening. So, thank you so much for everyone for joining us for the spring buffet, the Holy Week edition of the show. It is Holy Tuesday. It's not officially a thing on your liturgical calendar, but it is tax day for the last minute here, and it's about to be midnight. Roll over to Wednesday. So thank you very much.
Who's gonna watch WrestleMania?
Where's my cricket soundtrack?
Man, fuck you, Joe. What the hell?
What do you mean, fuck you?
No, I actually will. I'll get it home and
don't I need to buy shit?
I'm watching the play-in tournament for the NBA right now, right?
You watch the NBA? Did you lose a bet?
Yeah.
I haven't paid that close attention to WrestleMania since I went 2 years in a row. And that was years ago.
I went to Monster Jam. I took the toddler to
Yeah,
Monster
I saw
Jam.
that,
He loves
but
that.
that's not the same as, seeing a whole bunch of
I'm
fireworks
taking him
go
to
off.
the Indy Grand Prix for the second year in a row. That's gonna be dope.
I will say nothing, very little, except Notre Dame running onto the field can compare to the Undertaker's entrance. That
true.
is a fact.
Did you go to 40 or no?
Is it true?
No,
Amen to that.
I went to 27 and 28.
Okay.
Atlanta and then Miami.
Yeah, I knew that was coming soon.
Sorry, Coach. I missed your intro from earlier.
Yeah, you missed it big time. I was waiting on it.
I know. Hey, maybe this can be someone's intro.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
I love that guy, and I hope he's still alive.
He's probably not.
China.
All right. I've got all sorts of random shit here. So. All right. All right. We'll wind it down now that I'm playing random, shit here on the show.
I don't know. I'm pulling for Roman. That's it.
Oh, for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I actually kind of want to watch it with the kids, but then it's like I got two little boys. Like they literally every day try to tackle each other, and it's like they don't do it just on the carpet. Like they'll do it on the hard vinyl flooring in the kitchen. I'm like, no, don't. Like, don't tackle your
something that you need to look into for your sound bites. 101soundboards.com.
I'm writing this down. 101?
Yeah, it's 101soundboard.com. Or if you just Google that, it should come up. You can create an account. It's free. Like hundreds of thousands of millions of sound bites.
Oh, that's not the problem. Like I've got like little MP3s that are on the thing. It's finding them at a moment's notice that like when the iron is hot.
This website you can create like a favorites dashboard, and you just click it, or you can hit a key that it's assigned to automatically.
Yeah, that requires me to remember shit. There's a reason why I write things down. Okay.
Yeah, it automatically assigns it to a certain key on your keyboard, and you can even play it from your phone.
I don't think you understood me. So. There's a reason why I write things down. You're asking me to remember what soundbite I had with the letter K?
No, it assigns it automatically to your keyboard. And you look on the screen, and it says, hit this key. And it plays that particular one.
I suppose so. But that's not how my brain's going to associate. It's going to be like, I want to play... you're gonna need a bigger boat. That's just a random quote from a movie.
If you favorite that soundbite on the website,
how do I know what key it is?
Account,
I'm not gonna remember what key I assign it to.
It tells you on your favorites menu.
What
it assigns it to a key as you favorite it.
I hear what you're saying. I don't think. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
You're just gonna
I hear what you're saying.
Investigation.
I hear.
You're just gonna have to go to it and play around with it.
I have a couple of months in the off season. Okay, maybe we'll buy shit. I don't know. We'll do what we got to do. I will say this. There's one last thing. We've kind of not talked about this really at all. We kind of did a little bit with comparing the team to the 1993 season a little bit. Before I go on my last rant here, Red Snapper, Ryan, co-host. You guys got anything else from the spring game you want to talk about? That's not recruiting.
I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything.
The one thing I like is the NFL legacy names that are on this team. Burris,
Bettis'
son, Bettis Jr. There's some significant talent here that's coming, NFL legacy. And I think, I'm going to say it right now, watch out for Burris. I think he is going to be a breakout star. If he gets enough time, he's going to light it up.
Don't doubt that at all. It is pretty cool to see legacy successful players at Notre Dame who are successful at the next level in Hall of Fame kind of situation, and their kids being student athletes at Notre Dame with the opportunity to contribute to the football team in the near future. So I agree. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. That being said, I did make a comment earlier in the show, and for anyone who's gone this long with the show, thank you so much. This is kind of the grab bag. It's the spring game. Comparing the 2024 team to the 1993 season, and how was very tickled, very happy with how the 2024 season turned out. It exceeded all my expectations, and by far, as an adult or just someone with rational memory, because I really don't remember 1988, but 2024 was so great. And to win 2 New Year's Sixes back to back put a lot of demons to rest, to the point where I'm like, that's kind of been my MO always with this show. And we finally did that. Like, do I need to keep podcasting? I ain't going anywhere. We ain't done yet. I ain't going anywhere. We're carrying on, and Notre Dame football will carry on into 2025. The pages are not written. The pages are empty in the notebook. We got plenty of RAM and memory on the hard drive. More podcasts will come. More football will come. Notre Dame, we ain't going anywhere. We'll be back in August. So sayonara for a few months. We'll see you guys in a few minutes. In a few months. Go Irish.